Daggone, boy, you got you a blog?
Greetings, Earthling.
But I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me once again. Glad to have you back on the show.
Hey, thanks, Douglas. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
So, having just met you
Yes.
recently, I wanted to get your feeling, your emotion. What was your reaction to this Brexit that we're just kind of hearing
First of
about?
all, I was trying to, I had some pounds that I bought or something the night before. And I remember cashing out before I went to bed, and on the thought that everything would be safe in the morning. And I'm so lucky that I cashed out of my bet before, so it was relief first of all, shock.
Yeah.
Mate, it was just so. I remember looking at the bets. Like we gamble online here quite a lot. Well, I do, and the odds were like 5-1, which was very unlikely that would happen. But yeah, I think it was a shock to people. To no one on my Facebook or anything. Not that I go on it much, but as per our last podcast. But yeah, it was shocking. Really, it was coming.
Well, congratulations on your winning on your gamblings.
Known option when it comes to voting.
So.
Yeah, well, I was very it's luck really. You can't. But I managed to. I made about $25, but I could have lost 150. So I was very lucky.
Oh wow.
But, yeah. But the European Union was different from the Euro, different thing from the. So the European Union was, I think, it was like this thing that came together post-war to sort of like violence, and then this prevent anything from happening. She came out of that, and Britain sort of decided not to be part of that because we were very happy with the strong pound. But I mean, everyone does seem so like it's the end of the world. I'm not sure it is, but I guess no one really knows what it is. It's unprecedented. So I mean, I was very much in favour of staying in, but that was more not because I knew what was the better economic outcome. It was because I was just being idealistic, like trying to. It's nice to think you can stand together with your European cousins rather than want to put borders up. It's never nice to put borders up, really, is it?
I agree.
That's why. But
So
when it comes to the economy, it's. It might be bad, but it's going to be bad. I think a lot of the working class people felt that it might be bad for the bankers. Money that people don't see, every day. It's all hidden away in these mysterious towers in London. And, for everyday people, I don't think they're much worse off. I think that's why there was this sudden surge of voting. They look at countries like Switzerland and Sweden and see how they're almost middle-class utopias when you go around there. And they're the countries that have, withdrawn more from Europe. So I guess it's just, I understand why people wanted to leave, really. But it's certainly, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think it could be interesting. I mean, I guess house prices, that'll be an immediate. But again, nothing happens for 2 years anyway. We're talking a long time and very slow changes. So it's hard to imagine you're going to gain a bit of strength. But again, that's unseen unless you're traveling. I think that's like an unseen. Sorry, I've had a coffee. I'm a bit.
Oh no, you're
shaky. But,
no, you're good. This is great.
I'm staying up late. It's midnight here. That's why I've had a coffee, listeners.
We appreciate you
Yeah,
braving the time distance to spend time with us. So, what I'm hearing is it was an economic decision, a strategical play, rather than a political statement.
Oh yeah, I think definitely. Well, all of the Leave campaigners went on this figure that was, wide contested, but said it was a lie. But the Britain puts in 350 million to the EU and only gets out 100 million or something like that. So there was a deficit. So basically, the idea of the European Union is that the countries that can afford to put money in, like France, Germany, Britain, will put money in, and then the countries that need support, like Greece, say, or some other, worse off countries, get the support they need. So it's sort of like socialist ideal, really, in a way, but in state form. So, a lot of people went on this figure, so more money for our hospitals rather than put it in a pool for European money. I think that was a lot of people's thing. But I have to say, I think, I don't know really about this, but I think maybe the Paris attacks sort of swayed people because, having more control of Britain's borders might play a big part if someone's scared of, terrorists coming in or the Syrian refugees or something. It's very much like a divorce, like parents divorcing, and it's partly economical, it's just like you're getting too many refugees in, people felt, but it is a bit of a shame. It's a shame people felt that way, but I completely understand it. I don't think it's the end of the world, but it's certainly going to be an interesting one.
I see. Yeah, your analogy of a divorce, the parents splitting up, it seems appropriate, and I feel like that's the narrative that the media is kind of running with.
It's like an irresponsible dad. Like UK is an irresponsible dad. It's like, and the refugees might be a kid. Maybe our relationship wasn't so good. Now you've got all these kids with you. Like you go out on a date with a girl, and then she hasn't got kids, and then she tells you she suddenly got lots of kids, or she's planning children. But it's not. You see, I'm very idealistic, but so I think we should have everybody, but I sort of see the arguments. And people say that the people who wanted to leave were lying about lying. I think they didn't know what was going to happen, and now it'll be interesting because I guess no one knows what's going to happen. A bit like if Trump was president in the US, like everyone would be like, "Fuck, I don't know what we do now. Do we ask for the wall or do we?" I mean, I don't think even the people campaigning to vote expected it to happen, to be honest. It was like such an outside odds thing. It was so against what normal is, I think.
Right, and now that it's a real possibility, people are starting to maybe want to pump the brakes. There was this idea that people didn't think it could happen, and that people voted to leave, and then they were surprised. Like they wanted to make a statement in the voting booth, but didn't want to deal with the reality.
Yeah.
Well, are the polls? Do you think that the surveys were that inaccurate that they surveyed all these people that wanted to stay and then they didn't?
Well, I think the polls were really inaccurate because of what the bookmakers were offering, and so the bookmakers very much thought that Britain. So it's they usually get their data from as much as possible. They get their raw data from all the polls. So, I mean, but isn't it like the same with the presidential stuff? It's the polls are very weird now, but no one really answers them. Have you ever answered a poll?
Never.
Who has the time? And I think they still do most of them by phone, like by landline phone. It's a phone. Oh, my grandma has a phone, and she can't get up to answer it. So it's the only person in my family that actually has a phone attached to the wall. Can't use it anyway. Sort of people that basically the very old people, and I don't know. I guess I think polling in itself is a very on a shaky ground as history. You think?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, when we're talking about the impact of this decision, 0 being no impact and 10 being a disaster, an earthquake, a war, international conflict. Where do you see this falling on the scale?
Well, for a start, it won't. The minimum time before anything happens is 2 years, so it's pretty hard to, until there's clear eyes of what the plan is, which we won't know until October, which is when we get a new prime minister. I think at the conference, Tory Party conference. I'm not sure. I think people expect too much from politics sometimes, or if it's done well, politics, you don't really see it every day. It's just that little unnecessary things that have to exist, like fire brigades, police. And if everything goes well, you never really need to politics. So I think people do expect too much from politicians, but in a way that's a good thing here, because I don't think the impact will be that sorely felt. I mean, immediately it'll be more expensive to travel because of the weaker currency, but apart from that, in day-to-day life, I can't see much changing. I mean,
right.
It's just, and maybe it'll be sad in the end. Borders up after, traveling will be harder. But who knows? No one knows anything at the moment. It's, as I said, it's unusual. I mean, how is it taken in the US? How do people perceive it there?
But I think the comparison that you made with Trump is that, this could really happen. Something that people dismiss as, an outside possibility. If you put it to the people's vote, anything could happen. I think.
Talk is cheap, motherfucker!